Hey everybody, welcome to Intunes Review. I'm your host Cav, and today we'll be talking about two comic books. So we're going to get some of the good, some of the bad, and what I really think about it. Obviously it's a review. And those two comic books that we'll be talking about is Batman issue 50 and X-Men Gold issue 30. These two were both wedding events. So without further ado, let the introduction do its thing and we'll get right into our review. Alright, the two comic books that we're talking about, what do they have in common? Well, obviously, they're getting married. Yay! For DC, Batman and Catwoman are getting married. For Marvel, Colossus and Kitty Pryde are getting married. Now, for Batman, it's been going on, I think, around issues, I want to say 18, following all the way up, even the Jokes and Riddles story arc that happened. Batman was confessing to Catwoman of some of the things that he felt as though he didn't do and what he should have done. Now, for X-Men Gold issue 30, this is the wedding event. This actually happened, I want to say, around issues 20. So 20, maybe 18. But trust me, I know you're saying issue 30, this is issue 30, and you're talking about issue 18. It's not that far back. But they come out every other week or something like that. So this has been happening, building up for longest, especially for both of them. So what do they have in common? Well, Batman proposed to Catwoman, like I said, and Kitty Pryde proposed to Colossus. Don't worry, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna have the pictures up here, and you probably won't even see my face. And if you do, you'll still see the images because it's just boring just looking at this face. Anyway, so alright, there was a lot of hype build up in the background for both comics. Even so far as for DC, they sent out a nice little invitation. I'll have the pictures up here. Don't worry about it. I'm just putting it up here to show you. And I'll take a picture of the image and up there. And so for Batman, it says, let me see. You are formally invited to the wedding of Selina Kyle and Bruce Wayne, July 4th, 2018, Gotham City. So, invitation to follow. Alright, so you had the DC Nation issue 0, which came out in May. I think it was on like 10 cents. So definitely go pick it up if you are starting to get into comics and you want to know what's going on with both Marvel and DC, or especially just DC if you only care about that. Then you had Batman Prelude to the Wedding, Robin versus Ra's al Ghul. Batman issue 48. Batman Prelude to the Wedding, Nightwing versus Hush. Batman Prelude to the Wedding, Batgirl versus the Riddler. Batman Prelude to the Wedding, Red Hood versus Anarchy. Batman issue 48. Batman Prelude to the Wedding, Harley Quinn versus the Joker. And then Batman issue 50 and Catwoman issue 1. Now, I was told, and I'm glad that he did, by a comic book store provider, he said, you're going to have to read Batman issue 50 before you read Catwoman issue 1. Catwoman issue 1 is going to clear some things up for us. And I actually do have that issue here. This is the variant cover of it. It's nice. I read it. So I'm going to give you my review. I didn't really get into the hype. I mean, I'm a reader. And I say that as much as I would say I'm a movie goer. If there's a movie out, I'm interested in it. It's good to me. And so for reading, both of the things are the same way. If it's a story and I specifically like the characters, it's interesting to me and it's going to be more to me than anybody else. So for long-time comic book readers, this was a disappointment to them. To newcomers, this is more so like, yeah, it was a good story. Why do you not like it? Okay, First off, there was so much hype around it, behind it. I think even for July 4th, which was the 4th of July, obviously, if you don't know that, there was the midnight release for Batman issue 50. Before that, there have been some leaks about the story. So, instead of being disappointed reading the comic book, you were disappointed prior to buying the comic book. And a lot of fans didn't like that. I don't know about y'all. I'm not really a social media reading up type thing. Like, if I'm going to do a video, obviously I'll do the background for it. But if I'm not going to do the video, then I'm not going to worry about what New York's bestseller or whatever their company is called, or, anybody who's pretty much spilling the beans for each issue or each comic. I'm not going to go on the website and read it up. I'm not that type of person. I want to come into reading comic books like I go into reading movies. My expectations are up here. And then if it's good, it will stay up here. Good to me, it will stay up here. I don't care about critics. If it was to me, I'll say it's If it's that's it. Like, there's only 3 movies in my lifetime that I would say that were and that was Avatar Airbender, Last Airbender live movie. That was such a disappointment. And Dragon Ball live movie. That was definitely a disappointment. Batman v Superman, a lot of cool scenes happening there, but that just comes about above. So if you can't see my hand, that's how low. If you can start to see my hand, that's where Batman v Superman sits. And then everything else up like that. But you didn't come here for the movies, came here for the comic books. Alright. So like I said, there was hype for the background for both of them. And again, I'm happy that my comic book store owner had told me to read this, then read Catwoman, and then you'll kind of understand. It'll make some things a little bit more easier. Alright, so was I happy to read these? Yes. Now these came out July 4th. Well, this one came out July 4th. This one came out about the week before July 4th. I'm not going to do that with all the, because I don't know, but the week before July 4th. And it's now August that I'm doing this video. So a good month, actually. A whole month and a couple days since this comic's been out, and a whole 2.25 months, really, or I say a month in a week since X-Men 30 came out. I read them on my own terms. I avoided any YouTubers that were talking about it, unless they said no spoilers. Then obviously I watched it, and then I read it for myself. It was good storytelling for a little bit. It was excellent hype for both of them. Excellent hype. They promoted the crap out of them within the comic books. But as far as, like, if you're a YouTuber and you're watching this video and you're like, well, I'll get my review on a comic book from a YouTuber, and you so happen to stumble on my channel, thank you. Like, subscribe. But you're like, maybe I want to read it, maybe I want to get into it. And if I say anything negative about these 2 comic books, I don't want you to take away, I don't want you taking away from it, okay, I'm not going to waste my time buying them. If you are interested in it, and you have some expectations of it, this is my point of view, and my opinion as far as me being a critic for what I'm reviewing. You can not like it. I mean, obviously, I don't like critics. So right now I'm being a critic about 2 comic books that had so much hype around it, around the comic book community, that my opinions on it should mean something, but really don't need to mean something. So, like I said, like I read off to you guys, the prelude to the wedding for Batman, these issues were tie-ins. They weren't necessarily something that you need to get into. And since I've been reading comic books and buying individual issues, I've realized that both Marvel and DC. They're the only two ones that will give you tie-ins to a specific comic book, and it's like you didn't need to get up. You didn't need to get it. You didn't. Yeah, there's something nice to buy and trade and read to see. Okay, what were these people doing who are connected to the main story arc? And okay, cool. But if you're buying it individually, each issue that it comes out, like I did, it's a little bit of waste of time and money. Financially speaking, the preludes were like $4.99, which for DC they're normally like $2.99, and some of the comics are $3.99. So the preludes for those, price-wise, to add to my comic list, it's like, okay, it's hitting the bank just a little bit. So if you're interested in comics, just know what you're looking into and looking out for. If there are tie-ins, obviously you might want to ask the comic book store owner, but not to say that all of them do it, but some of them are looking to get some money. So they're gonna be like, if you really want to know, buy this tie-in. You read the tie-in, and then you read the main story arc. You're like, okay, I guess it's cool to have information, but I didn't really need it. Like it was nothing. Like for the Batman tie-ins, all those preludes was just showing how each Robin and Batgirl actually felt about Batman getting married and what it meant to them. They give the little background story. I was doing this around the time when Bruce Wayne first met me, or when Batman brought me under his wings. So those tie-ins, they were nice. If you are a new comic book fan, if you're a new comic book reader, those are something nice to get into. But if you're a comic book reader like myself, who have boxes of individual issues, that can all lead up to a nice amount of money to be spending. And we don't live in a world of society where you're not paying for something that needs to be paid for. Like bills. Just bills, okay? You got bills to pay. You're an adult. If you're a teenager or a little kid and your parents are buying you guys comic books, you guys don't have nothing to worry about. But just know that when you're an adult and it comes to taking care of what needs to be taken care of, and then taking care of what you want, your needs over your wants. I'll put it like that. My wants, my needs, okay? My wants, all those right there, versus my needs. Needs need to be taken care of. Valuable lessons. That's why we stay in tune. I'm trying to be for real with you. Alright, anyway, the tie-ins as an adult weren't necessary. Little side stories, they were mainly for new comic book readers who kind of had the basic idea of Batman. And then when you hear him getting married to Catwoman, you obviously want to get those tie-ins to know what's going to happen and how each one felt. For X-Men, there weren't any tie-ins, which I'm happy about. I'm so happy about. There weren't any tie-ins for them. Whatever was taking place was taking place. No, I'm wrong. There was an annual, X-Men Gold annual. It wasn't a necessary need to get, but it was kind of nice. And it's a little background bachelorette party for both sides. And there was a little thing that happened in there in the annual, which is a tie-in for this, that kind of leads into the main story arc. So, yeah, but did you really need to get it? No. So, I'm helping you out. I'm saving you, or saving you if you're an adult, I'm saving you some money. If you're a kid, I'm trying to save your parents some money, or whoever's buying your comic books. And if you're a teenager and you're working on your own and you getting these things, I'm trying to save you some money too. Anyway, so the tie-ins aren't really a necessary need for these two. This is the main storyline. So for instance, Batman's issue 48 and 49, those are important to keep in. Oh, although it's part of the main story arc for Batman, 49 and 48 really just deals with Catwoman and the Joker. And then this picks up something where totally different. It's like something happens in issue 49 and you're like, whoa, and you pick up 58 and it's like it's not talking about what happened in 49. Not really that much. And obviously you'll probably just let it go by. Like, well, I guess it's comics, so you'll let it slide. Alright, so, in both comics, boom and boom. Similarity, okay? In DC, Batman and Catwoman getting married. And Marvel's X-Men Gold, Kitty Pryde and Colossus are getting married. So, probably asking yourself, what do they have in common that you're not really feeling right now, Kev? This is what I have in common that I'm not feeling. What they had in common that I'm not feeling. In both stories, for the women, not the men, not Bruce Wayne, not Colossus, for the women. They're maid of honor, or Catwoman's maid of honor, and Colossus' sister talking to the brides. Okay, they plant these seeds that kind of gets them to think. This one, I think, it's like I'll get to it where I'm like, ugh. But this one kind of is like, there's going to be a storyline later down the line that's going to be very interesting and definitely would love to read. And this one, it was kind of like meh. And I'm about to explain to you why I was like meh, and why I'm like, this has potential. So we'll do X-Men. We'll get into X-Men. I'll do X-Men first because I kind of like. I dislike what they did for this more than Batman and Catwoman. So, Colossus is here, middle hand right here. This is Kitty Pryde, the hand. Okay, if y'all don't know who Kitty Pryde is, she can walk through walls. If y'all don't know what Colossus can do, his whole body turns into metal. So, Colossus' sister, which is Magic. She spells it M-I-G-K something. It's probably pronounced different, but it's Magic. They just took the C out, put the K there. She's talking to Kitty Pryde, and she's like, you know, I would definitely love to see you marry my brother. You make him happy. They're sad and third about making him feel alive. But if you do, would you guys still be the same? I mean, you got to think about all the consequences. We're out here saving the world on a daily basis, sometimes better than the Avengers, and sometimes better than our own individual teams. So with that being said, you really want to marry my brother. And you know it's gonna affect you while we're out there in the field. There could be a big monster or a big bullet coming down and to destroy the world, and will you be willing to let him go in order to save the world? Or do you think my brother will be willing to let you go to save the world? You know, so she was implanting that in her, in Kitty Pryde's head. And I'm like, but you gonna be the sister-in-law? Like, what's your whole deal? Like, she makes your brother happy. Like, let them get married. Like, why would you say something like that? Like, to me, that was fighting words. That was a whole fighting conversation. The whole time, she would have said, I would have popped right there in the head. Like, what are you talking about? Like, I got on my knees to propose to him to get married. Why are you implanting this in my head? Long story short, this whole video might be like 20-some odd minutes. But the long story short, they get to the altar, and the priest has Colossus say the words first, which is odd because every wedding I've been to, the priest always has the woman say it first, and then the man says it after the woman. Like, you know, repeat after me, yada yada yada. But Colossus said it first. The priest had Colossus say it first, and then he said, "Okay, Kitty, repeat after me." And she was like, "No, I can't do this." And I'm like, you know, I flip back a couple of pages. I'm like, Magic, well, what are you doing? What'd you say all this for? You know? And then boom. So she got the altar. She runs off. I think like the rings go through the hand or whatever. No, because he repeat after me, so they didn't even get to the rings yet. She ran off and stood on the edge of the hill where she's facing the sunset. I mean, it was a beautiful wedding. I'm saying as if I was actually there. Comic book wise, it was a beautiful setting. And so she just runs off and he chases after her. And he's like, but why? Like, you know, he's saying all this like, you proposed to me. Like, you proposed to me. You got on your knee and proposed to me. What? And you saying no? And she doesn't let him know what his sister said to her. And oh, fine, whatever. So there's all this stuff, you know, the catering, the cake, the wedding stuff is still up. So we're like, okay, well, I guess that's that. That's the end of the story. Nobody's getting married. I mean, the two main people that you hyped up for the past couple of months that you began to even say they're going to get married, it's not going to happen. I'm about to flip the page and be done with the comic book. No, that doesn't happen. Which I'm about to express to you guys exactly why I'm like, what? So, if you don't mind, I'm just like, I'm sweating because I'm like heated over this just by talking about it. So, throughout all of that, somebody gotta get mad. I mean, call up Black Panther, get him and Storm. They about to remarry themselves. No, they don't call Black Panther. He don't come from Wakanda. Yeah, he'll come to the. Nobody from the Avengers is there. No, it's X-Men. If you ain't been an X-Men, you ain't invited. So who do they set this next storyline up for to announce who's gonna get married? Now, I want to say about a few months back, Rogue and Gambit went on a mission that Kitty had asked them to go do. They had their own little 6-mini issue. It was a mini series, 6 issues. And if you don't know, especially if you watch the X-Men animated series, you've seen Rogue and Gambit go back and forth with relationship just as much as Colossus and Kitty Pryde, Shadowcat, if you will. So I'm just gonna show. They are the ones that get married at the end of the story, or matter of fact, yeah, they're the ones that get married in this comic book. At the end of X-Men Gold, issue 30, for what it says, "Till death do us part, X-Men Gold," for Colossus and Kitty Pryde, Shadowcat, to get married. They don't do it. So you set it up for this. Mrs. and Mr. and Mrs. X, Gambit and Rogue. Now, I'm not saying that I'm upset that these two are the ones getting married. I'm happy. I'm like, you know what? I gave Gambit and Rogue, or Rogue and Gambit, I forgot the title of it. I gave them a shot. I'm like, I would actually like to see these two guys get together, because I grew up on the X-Men animated show. So I like for them to actually do that now is cool. And the first story, for the first issue, which is this, which was only $3.99, which is amazing, by the way. Marvel's doing a good job when they're starting. Not all the new storylines, but some of the new storylines, when they're starting it up, they normally make it about like $4.99. And they kept it at the regular price that they're selling all the regular comics at $3.99. Kudos, Marvels. I told you I'm getting heated because I'm like ugh. So set it up for Gambit and Rogue to get married, and like I said, the first issue for them, Mr. and Mrs. X, I would recommend you guys pick it up to read it, and they finally get married. And yeah, so would I advise you guys to pick up this $4.99? And if you live outside of Delaware, taxes, Uh, it was a nice read. It was nice. It was nice. It was a nice read. I'm trying to save you money. I don't want you guys wasting your time. And if this is a spoilers, I'm sorry. I'm pretty sure there were more YouTubers on YouTube talking about these two events because they were just a week apart and they were doing the same thing. That at the end of this one, you were disappointed because the two main characters that they're talking about, they're getting married and they hyped it up in the comic book community. They're gonna get married. They, you know, and they don't. And it's like Rogue and Gambit, they get married. So congratulations to Rogue and Gambit. But as far as I'm concerned, when I was buying that mini issue series, I'm like, they could have just did that. They could have continued it without needing to go through this. I don't know if it was like a last minute thing and it was like, at the end, don't let these two get married, let these two get married. I'm coming from the standpoint of view of wasting time. I felt as though you could have said that Rogue and Gambit was a 6-issue mini short and then did their own little thing. Continued on the comic within itself, but they didn't do it. They didn't do it. Thanks, Marvel. Thanks for, I live in Pennsylvania, Philadelphia. Thanks for making me pay $5 after tax, $5 and something after tax, $5 and some change after tax for a wedding that you hyped up, that I was hype about, like finally they're getting married, to not letting it happen at all. That's Marvel. On to DC. Now, like I said previously before, and it was this is the variant, like I said, this is a variant. The main cover cover picture for Catwoman's first issue, she says, if you read me, I'ma spoil this for you. So, I guess in a way, but I'ma get into that. So, as I said before, the preludes, they're not important. Don't get them. Don't waste your time or money on getting those. Don't do it. Kitty Pryde. Now this, I said Kitty Pryde, Catwoman. Her friend, who I want to say about issue 40, maybe issue 39. After Batman proposed to her. Now they need to get the blessings of Talia al Ghul, Ra's al Ghul's daughter, the new Robin's mom, because he's technically still married to her. They went over there to say, hey, look, I'm about to marry her. I don't want you guys attacking us. I don't want you doing none of that. That was part of the story. I'm sweating because I'm heated. But we also come to find out, I think an issue previous to this, there are 2 issues previous to it. It's a story arc. Catwoman is a good friend. This is why you need friends like Catwoman. This is why you need friends like Catwoman. She's a thief. She's she can do stuff. All right. This is why you need. This is why he proposed to her. She the John. All right. Her friend, who you'll read in this comic and previous before, like I said, probably issue 40, issue 39. Her friend goes on a killing spree, and in order to save her friend, Catwoman, Selena Kyle, is like, look, I'm gonna take the rap. I'm gonna take the fall so that you can live your life. I'm a thief. I'm a criminal anyway. I'm most likely gonna get out, so not a problem. I'll take the fall for you. But you need to get out of town. You can't stay here in Gotham no more. And she goes over to, and forgive me, I'm not really I don't really know certain names of where these people go, but she went to go stay with Talia al Ghul, and she's under Talia al Ghul's protection. And then that's why Batman and Catwoman went out there to bring her back for justice, so that way Catwoman's slate can be clean. So Batman confesses what he did during the joke and riddles to Catwoman, what he should have done and what he didn't do, and how far it went on. It's a whole story arc. You don't necessarily need to read it for this, so don't worry about it. Alright, so now it's her turn. Batman explains to her, I know what you did. You were protecting your friend. It's cool, some people will do it, but I want your slate to be clean as my slate is clean. So they went there, they brought her back. She went to jail for the crimes that she did for killing all those people. Catwoman's slate is clean. She's no longer the suspect for mass murderers. She's still a thief, but she's not a murderer. I think it was like 200 people, an outstanding number, and it felt out of place because Catwoman don't kill, she just robs people. Anyway, what happens? Okay, so in this story, Batman goes gets a judge so that he can be the one to marry them. And he said, I need some witnesses. We know we're gonna need some witnesses. So Catwoman goes to Arkham Asylum to free that friend who killed 200 people. And Bruce Wayne is going to use Alfred, which is touching in all kinds of ways, because Alfred is really his father. Let's be honest. Alfred was like, do you want me to call Dick Grayson, or do you want me to call Clark to be your witness? And he's like, nah, we don't need to bother them with that. We're going to get married on the top of a rooftop at night. The judge is drunk. He's going to marry us. We're going to be good. Alfred, I want you to be my witness. You've been there from the get-go. I mean, I'm just short-terming it. If you want to, pick it up and read it. Definitely. This was also $4.99. It's like $5 something after tax. Alright. Okay. So, now, what's similar to this? What's the similarity? Where you going to go with this, Kev? That friend that Selina broke out of jail to get married, to be a witness there for her, implants doubts into her head. I'm reading it. I'm like, huh? Like, didn't Marvel just do this last week? Like, what we doing, DC? I know we copying off some of the characters, and Marvel copying off of some of our characters. But since Rebirth, DC's been killing the comic book industry. I mean, like, murdering it. Like, story after story. I mean, there may have been a couple of story arcs where it's kind of like it dropped the ball, but majority of their story arcs have been on point and amazing. You want to repeat what Marvel did? Marvel didn't do a good job. They wasted everybody's time and everybody's complaining about it. And at the end of the day, Marvel and DC is like, well, you guys paid for it. They're like Eazy when they were going to go do their concert and they saw people stomping on the CDs and lighting them up on fire and doing all that stuff. Eazy was like, well, I don't care. Like, they paid for it. I'm getting paid anyway. That's how Marvel and DC is right now. So I'm here complaining about both Marvel and DC's marriage thing, and they're like, well, you can complain all you want, but you paid for it. You wouldn't be doing a video holding these two comic books in your hands if you didn't pay for it. So you got me there, Marvel and DC. But I'm trying to help you guys out, my viewers. So she implants in Catwoman's head, Batman is Batman. Like, at the end of the day, which was kind of touched on in issue 49 when she was talking to the Joker. Go pick that up. It's a nice read. And so she's like, Batman goes out. He stops the bad guy. Gotham is saved again. For a night, maybe a month or two. Maybe not a year, because there's always crime in Gotham. But majority of the times, if it's a big Joker got 500 people in 10 different buildings, and he's gonna He's gonna kill them all with a bomb. Batman needs to go out there and save them. The Riddler's doing something with 1,000 people. Batman needs to go out there and save them. The Penguin, yada yada. Y'all know the storylines. Y'all know the villains of Batman. If Batman is happy, he's happily married. You make him happy. You make him happy, girl. You put a smile on his face. I think one night on the news they said Batman was out there smiling, and it wasn't because he was beating up somebody. It's because, he's happy. They can see it on his face. He's not intimidating anymore. He won't be intimidating if you marry him. If you marry him, he won't go out there. He won't protect Gotham. Gotham needs a protector. Batman is that one. At the end of the day, the villains will still get out. They'll still do whatever they gotta do. But when it comes to Batman, he will stop them. And Gotham will be saved again. Now, obviously, I'm exaggerating on some of the stuff. But the main background of what she was saying to Catwoman was, if you make him happy, he won't need to go out here and do this. I said, Dad. He's like, they done did what Marvel did. Why in the world is y'all doing that? Gets to the point, Batman has the drunk judge to marry them. Selina's on a totally different rooftop than where she's supposed to be, where Batman, Alfred, and the judges are at. She jumps off the rooftop. She stands him up. At least Kitty Pryde was there. She's like, I can't do it. They had a little conversation. Bam. The wedding's off. They no longer get married. She didn't even show up to the same rooftop. That's disrespectful. At the end of the day, that's disrespectful. So it's kind of like, alright. Turns out, Batman jumps off the roof. He's sad. It hurt. I mean, I'm Colossus. I guess bullcrap, you proposed to me. Sorry. It's bullcrap, you proposed to me. And we at the altar, we got all our friends here. And you say, no, you can't do this. I'm Batman. Like, you're not even gonna show up to my face. That's disrespectful. Like, yo, now I gotta go out. Now I gotta arrest you. I gotta put you in jail. You're not getting out. I'm sorry. That's just me. All right. So, her friend goes back to jail. That's why I said this it's disappointing because you did what Marvel did, but at the end of the day, you started a whole story, a whole new storyline. I mean, for Marvel, they did too. They gave you Rogue and Gambit getting married, but you could have did that without needing to do the marriage thing. I think there's a little bit more to it than what we got out of this, and then got that marriage thing. I done dropped the thing. That's how I feel about it, Marvel. And you're probably saying like, yeah, but you still pay for it. You right. So, and then we don't even address what really happened between the two after this story arc. I mean, after issue 50, we don't even address it. And in this issue, she's off in a different thing. She's handling it her own way, and that's cool. Issue 51. Batman, he's doing his civic duty and being part of the jury for putting Frieza on trial. I mean, it's a nice little story arc, but it's kind of like Batman, for real. If you sit back and I'm gonna sit back and I'm gonna think about this real quick. We about to think together for the review for this. At the end of the day, I'm not gonna spoil it that much for you, but. Batman catches Freeze for murdering 2 women. Supposedly murdered 2 women. And it's actually Joker. Now we're seeing what happens after Batman catches them, gives them to the police. Now he's in front of the suspect is in front of the judge, and now we're seeing what the jury's gonna do. They're either gonna put him back in Arkham Asylum where he's gonna break out again, or they're gonna put him in jail. Now like I said, now we're seeing it because now Bruce Wayne is part of the jury, and it's nice. I think Tom King, I think you kind of did what Marvel did. Not really happy about it, but I think if If what I'm thinking is what you're doing, Tom King, then you a good storyteller, because it got to the point where Batman does what he does to Freeze, and the whole jury is like, he did it, put him in jail, and Bruce Wayne, aka Batman, is like, but maybe he didn't do it. Like, you Batman, how the heck do you beat up somebody who caused the death of 2 women, as you know is a known killer, thief? He's just like a bad guy all the way around. You catch him, the jury is on your side, saying, yeah, they're pretty much riding on the Batman bandwagon. Oh, Batman protects the city so many times. He did this for me. He did that for me. So it don't even matter if Freeze did it or not. He going to jail. You, Bruce Wayne, you gonna sit there and say, well, maybe he didn't do it. Like, you the one who find out the clues and the evidence for it. That's a whole different story. Maybe if y'all want to talk about that just a little bit more deeper, we're in issue 52 with that. Going to issue 53 for Batman after the wedding. If Tom King, if you're doing what I think you're doing, good storytelling, and I don't care what any other YouTuber is saying right now. If you're doing what I think you're doing, if you're not doing what I think you're doing, then why'd you do it off of Marvel? Alright, do I recommend you guys to go pick this up? Did I recommend you guys to pick this up? They did it the week before. They did the same thing. And unless you live in Delaware, you gotta pay the taxes. Are you willing to sacrifice a little bit more money for 2 very highly anticipated comics, where the week prior to this one, they messed up your whole planning and gave you a whole new issue that they didn't need to even do this for it? On a news, I think it's New York Sells or whatever, New York Times, that's what it's called. On New York Times, they spoil it before the midnight release to get this. I'm not upset because I wasn't there for July 4th midnight release. I had work the next morning, so I had gotten this whole week after, but I still read it. I had read this before I read this. I'm like, why would you do that to get the comic that we got now? And I'm like, you did what Marvel did, like, and now I'm going on YouTube and I'm listening to other YouTubers talking about it. And I'm like, yeah, why in the world? I just want to give my review. I not to say that mine's is more important than any other YouTuber that you're probably following that talked about them. But like I said, I'm a moviegoer and I'm a comic book reader. If critics who get paid to do stuff like this say that a particular movie was horrible, I'ma say to the critics, BS, and forget you. Keeping it PG. Forget you, critic, because I just saw this movie and I was blown away. You might not like it, and everybody else might not have liked it, but I liked it. And that's the same way I am about reading comic books. You guys hyped it all up, and people are critics, and they're saying, stupid, stupid, dumb, dumb. And I'm like, you do you, I'ma do me. I was happy when I read this. The outcome of it gave us a comic book that was previously done for a miniseries, and now you're saying that you want to make it a mainline story. I don't think you needed to do that for this. You didn't need to do that. Like you should have just let these two get married, and hopefully that's what's going to happen later on. For this, you got a new storyline out. I read Catwoman. I got her now on my comic pool list. She's dealing with her own thing. They're both handling what happened in this issue separately and differently. And I'm not even done. At the end of the comic, the person Selina's friend that she broke out to be the witness, she goes back to her Arkham Asylum, where she's in front of Bane, pretty much all Batman's villains. The Joker isn't there though, so I wouldn't say all of them. And then Gotham Girl, which if you don't know who Gotham Girl is, read the first Batman Rebirth story arc. You don't know who she is. And I'm just trying to figure out, well, what the heck is she doing there? Because last time I checked, you were a good guy. What are you doing, Tom King? Tom King, I was just about to be on your side. I said, I just said, Tom King, y'all was there, y'all saw me. I said, Tom King, if you doing what I think you're doing, you a genius, and I'ma love you for this. But you put Gotham Girl, who is specifically a hero, with the bad guys. Bane, I'm not gonna search to this thing and show y'all, but she's with the bad guys. And then there's a Batman that looks almost like Batman's father when he did the button crossover with the Flash. That was also cool and awesome. I would definitely pick that up. It's in trade now. What the world? So you got his father and a girl who's supposed to be a good guy, and Arkham Asylum with Bane and a couple of Batman's bad people. And she's like, I did what you told me to do. And Bane is like, yes, I've broken the bat before with his back. Now I'm breaking him again. And obviously he's talking about the heart. By having the wedding being broken up. But like I said, that is a promising storyline within itself for this. So that's why I'm like, yeah, cool. And there's a lot of cool stuff in here. So I mean, if you wanna read it and you already know what's gonna happen, that's cool for you. Like I said, right now I'm being a critic of how I felt about these two comics. So you can pick it up or you don't pick it up, but I advise you to pick it up just to read it. But again, now you know the situation. So do you buy these two? That's totally up to you. Waste your money, not waste your money. Like I said, my opinion really doesn't account to anything. If you're an X-Men fan, buy it. If you're a Batman fan, buy it. Like, just because I'm disappointed that two different companies wound up doing the same thing a week behind, like, what do you think? It's up to you. Buy it if you want to. Do you get the tie-ins for Batman? I'd say no. Get that as in trade. Don't buy it individually as an issue because of the price. Just get it in trade. That'll be out soon. So I think like 2-3 months from now. So anyway, yes, this video is extremely long. I realize that. But if you are new to Intoons, I hope you like this review on these two amazing comic books that we talked about today. I'm your host, Kev. This is not the only thing I do. So far, I haven't been doing Kev's Weekly Pool. I'm trying to get back on that, where I would go to my comic book store, show you what's new on the rack, and show you what I took off the rack. If you want a little bit more of background of that, watch Intoons Kev's Weekly Pool. So inside, yeah. I don't do that much. I forgot the whole name of it. It's Kev's Weekly Pool. You can watch 1 through I got up to like 32, I think. So, and then you'll know, like, I go over some things that came out in the comic book world, and we discuss things. I also do Intoons Hop In, where I pick out a couple comic books. I give you a little juiciness about them, and hopefully you go to your comic book store and you pick them up. So something like what I kind of did today, but I went to a review and I kind of spoiled it. With that, I don't really spoil it. I just give you enough juicy information, and hopefully you go to your comic book store and you pick it up. Alright, as always, I've been Kev. You have been you. Let's stay in tune.